Congratulations.
Right back at you.
I'll circle back with Paige, get the ball rolling. Start talking strategy, maybe put together a list of staff associates we can put on this.
I'll put Francis on that. You've got enough on your plate in doc review.
If it's your first time here, hey, my name is Quentin. I'm a writer, teacher, and sometimes performer. Better Call Saul, the spin-off and prequel to Breaking Bad. It's time yet again to analyze the complex characters and precise artistry of this series. I'm assuming if you clicked on this video essay, then you're familiar with the premise of the show, so I don't need to summarize anything. Before we get into today's topic, I wanted to thank again each and every one of you who have been watching, liking, and commenting on these video essays. My Patreon is linked below if you want to support me in making these videos and get some perks. Or hey, why not throw me a tip by clicking on the 3 dots below? Or become a member of the channel. You can earn some badges and get early access to videos like this one. Any amount you can afford helps a lot. Thank you. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Kim Wexler is probably the most mysterious and subtle character in Better Call Saul. On the one hand, Kim is an extremely intelligent, hardworking, and competent lawyer, but beneath the social mask that she dons, there is an inclination to disrupt the upper-class job she's worked so hard to be a part of through scamming with Jimmy McGill. This is a psychological result of growing up with an irresponsible mother, and because bending the rules to obtain what she thinks is right can actually be exciting and bring relief from the pressure she's felt her entire life. You can definitely infer that Kim became a lawyer due to the moral, legal, and financial instability of her mother. She was forced to grow up too fast and be the responsible child that regulated her unstable mother, who constantly broke the law. Knowing this, you can understand from an attachment theory perspective why she stays with Jimmy for so long. Kim was so used to helping a person who couldn't help themselves, so she became a lawyer to not only financially and socially rise above the hardship of her upbringing, but also to subconsciously repeat the circumstances, helping people with their personal legal issues. At least, that's what she hoped being a lawyer would entail. Instead of actually helping people through legal means, Kim spends a lot of her time as a lawyer trying to navigate office politics with her boss Howard Hamlin, cleaning up and even assisting Jimmy with his legal schemes, and helping a corporate bank like Mesa Verde expand into other states. Kim enjoys doing pro bono work, giving people who can't obtain top legal representation access to it in their time of need. Kim becomes so disillusioned with the male-dominated upper-class legal world in Albuquerque that she starts to inject some moral flexibility into her work, especially with Jimmy's help, culminating in her justifying ruining Howard's reputation as a means to settle the Sandpiper Crossing case and use their share of the common fund to open up a pro bono practice. For Kim, it's the ultimate takedown of a man who represents everything she's become disillusioned with in the law, so she can help people who really need it, people like her mother. That's what she tells herself, of course, but that's only part of her motivation. In this video essay, I wanted to explore the beginning of Kim's moral decline, as I think her behavior in Season 6 is often misinterpreted as abrupt, exaggerated writing by some viewers. Her moral decline is slower and less overt than Jimmy's, which is why I think her wanting to ruin Howard's reputation seems to come out of nowhere, but her moral disengagement starts from the very beginning of the series. Today we'll explore a scene that is extremely underrated, yet extremely important in Kim's arc and the rest of the series in general. The scene where Kim lands Mesa Verde as a client in Season 2, Episode 5, Rebecca. While it is exciting for her after working so incredibly hard, in retrospect, it's a scene where she could have stopped this specific line of legal work, left HHM, and gone down a different road of potential choices. Obtaining Mesa Verde is the beginning of the end in a sense for Kim, and really for the entire show. This is the exit sign Kim Wexler sadly missed. Let's get into it. Now, I do plan on making a separate video essay about the overall significance of the exit signs, but once I started thinking about the character of Kim, I couldn't get that scene out of my head where she receives a phone call informing her that Mesa Verde is interested in utilizing the legal services of HHM. Like many other scenes in Better Call Saul, red and green exit signs inside buildings, rooms, offices, or other interior spaces are a recurring visual motif, which, as most of you probably know, is defined as a repetitive visual element of thematic or narrative significance. Just like the visual motif of placing Jimmy near electric lights, characters are strategically placed near these exit signs to accentuate the impending physical/psychological danger by staying in this space. Most of the exit signs are red, which is a color representing chaos, danger, and criminality in the show. The exit signs communicate that a character is currently in, or will be in, some type of danger if they don't leave this space right now. It could be the space itself that's dangerous, who they're with in the space, or what they're doing in the space. Better Call Saul, being a prequel to Breaking Bad, shows us many instances where if characters had symbolically noticed the exit signs, they may not have ended up where they ended up in Breaking Bad. For example, Mike's meeting with Lydia or Jimmy's meeting with the Bar Association. Both characters are in spaces making choices that will lead them deeper into their fates in Breaking Bad. And while this may be inevitable, the exit signs serve as a visual tragic clue that we are witnessing situations our characters should have and could have left to avoid their trajectory into the darkness of Breaking Bad. Of course, this visual motif is also used for characters who are in spaces making choices that will eventually result in dire consequences in the Better Call Saul timeline itself. They're easy to miss if you're not looking for them, but once you happen to notice one, you start noticing others too. Like Kim's character, this visual motif is often quiet and subtle, except for the exit sign featured in the episode Chicanery. I will definitely expand upon these exit signs further as I have a lot more to explore, but for the purposes of this analysis, all you need to understand is that the exit sign functions as a cue for characters to ideally stop what they're doing in this space and leave in order to avoid future consequences. The use of exit signs in this scene from Season 2, Episode 5 accentuates Kim Wexler getting one step closer to complete moral disengagement. Now, let's get into it. After getting demoted to document review once again by Howard due to Jimmy's unauthorized Davis and Maine commercial, Kim takes it upon herself, as she always does, to save herself. She figures that by obtaining a new client for HHM, that will be enough to end her undeserved punishment. Throughout this analysis, I'm mainly going to discuss the use of contrasting lighting and colors accentuated in the sequence of Kim's perseverance and how it bridges into her ultimate encounter with that sign of danger. The basement of HHM, where Kim has been demoted to, is uncharacteristically dark in comparison to the wide windows, vibrant blue, brown, and white colors of the HHM building. It's as if Kim is forced to work in the Kafkaesque underworld of her law firm, the place where the tedious, unseen, and unappreciated document work is completed. There are very few lights, no windows at all, and no one looks like they enjoy the tedious paperwork. Obviously, who does? Like the colorless flash-forwards to Saul's life in hiding as Gene Takovic, there's hardly any color in Kim's current work situation. Leaving the document underworld, Kim uses her lunch break to cold call from these colorful sticky notes in the wide-open sunlight of the HHM staircase. Like Jimmy, Kim has her own ways of being colorful, venturing outside the confines of legal work conventions, but not in a morally flexible way at this point in her arc, but in a morally legitimate way. None of these cold calls pan out, unfortunately, so she literally removes all the color from the window pane and retreats back down to document review, back to the HHM underworld devoid of any light, color, and opportunity. When she leans over to obtain her next document from the box, Kim is cast in the shadows, in contrast to the open sunlight of the HHM staircase, where she just attempted to free herself from the unfair punishment. I wonder if Howard treating her this way will have any future consequences. Ugh. Then along comes one of Better Call Saul's signature montages, suitably accompanied by a Spanish cover of My Way, originally by Frank Sinatra. The significance of this song choice really needs no explanation. On a personal note, one of the reasons I actually started watching Better Call Saul was to distract myself from being unemployed for months on end after moving back to my country last August. This montage of Kim working herself to death, trying to improve her situation but not getting anywhere, was both inspiring and haunting for me at the same time. It's one of my favorite montages from the show. We see Kim in alternating spaces within HHM, back on the staircase, in the bathroom, in the parking garage, and other spaces, all consisting of different uses of light and shadow. In some spaces, she's in natural light, in others, she's cast in artificial electric light, And of course, she's cast in darkness with often only a shadowy silhouette visible. Kim goes into the light from the document review underworld to obtain a client, but the harder and longer she works, the more the light drains, and darkness envelops her. We even see her start to make cold calls in the HHM basement rather than venturing upstairs to the more brightly lit spaces. This montage is also interspersed with close-ups of lifeless document text on a white page highlighted by a yellow highlighter. I've touched on some of my interpretations of the color symbolism in the series in another video essay, though I still want to do a deeper dive at some point since I don't think all of my interpretations are completely valid. But white seems to represent a blank slate / potential for rebirth. Black seems to represent emotional mourning, darkness, and, as some viewers have pointed out, determination, and yellow seems to represent decay, wealth, and corruption. So with all three colors in action on Kim's unfortunate document reviews, the white page signals the potential to reinvent herself at HHM by bringing in a new client, yet the black text denotes darkness surrounding her as well as her own determination, and the yellow highlighter hints at the decay taking place in Kim's stability as a lawyer at the firm. I think these colors being reflected on the work she's forced to do hint at the unintentionally dark direction she's heading in, only Kim doesn't know it yet. But after this montage, her hard work finally pays off. Now we get to Kim's encounter with not one, but technically two exit signs, with only one of them actually displaying the word exit. Rather than leaving the document underworld to go back into the light of the HHM office above, Kim goes further into the darkness, taking the call in the parking garage. With only one electric light source above and the downward angle, Kim is literally and metaphorically entering into a darker, lower level at HHM and in her career as a lawyer. We don't see Kim taking this call from what we find out to be Mesa Verde in the bright sunny atmosphere above, but rather in the darkness of the parking garage. She steps out, and here we see a red exit sign to the far left and a white out sign with purple arrows to the right. Since exit signs try to symbolically communicate to characters that they ought to stop what they're doing and leave this space, Kim's successful call with Paige from Mesa Verde is not something that will lead her to the best future outcome. The exit sign is in typical red coloring, denoting chaos / danger, and the out sign is white with arrows pointing in a direction away from HHM, white denoting a blank slate. Kim is actually in a dangerous situation obtaining Mesa Verde, and she has two ways to get out. Go back through the stairwell and out the front doors, as indicated by the red exit sign, or follow the arrows away from the building and go out through the parking garage. As she continues her conversation, she stands in between both signs, telling her to get the hell out of there, but she takes no notice. She doesn't realize yet where this one action in this space is going to take her. So why should Kim have gotten out of there? Why were there two different exits presented for her to get out of this situation? It's because Mesa Verde, as a local bank looking to expand, is a highly desirable client for a law firm. So Kim expects Howard to move her out of document review since she brought them into the firm, but he only doubles down, still blaming her for Jimmy's behavior. This leads to Jimmy encouraging Kim even more to leave HHM and open up a private practice with him, which then leads to a battle between HHM and Kim for Mesa Verde as a client, which then leads to Jimmy sabotaging their documents to encourage them to go to Kim rather than HHM as outside counsel. And we all know what famous episode that leads to. Kim does get Mesa Verde to stick with her, but only because of Jimmy's scheme. She knows this, even though she gaslights Chuck into thinking it's too far-fetched, and that simple acceptance of her boyfriend's moral dubiousness, since it benefits her, is the beginning of her moral decline. Kim keeps Mesa Verde as a client for a very long time, losing sleep over all the extra work, and eventually becoming so unhappy with the legal work involved in helping a corporate bank expand that she gives it up to pursue more pro bono work. And that dedication to people with greater legal needs than the legal needs of a bank cements part of her reasoning for sabotaging Howard's reputation. And just like Jimmy changing 1261 to 1216, we all know how that elaborate scheme ends. In Kim's pursuit to rise above the hardships of her childhood by being a successful, hard-working lawyer, she ends up disillusioned with the upper classes, allowing her to tap into that moral flexibility demonstrated to her at such a young age. With these two different exit signposts, Kim might have realized during or after that phone call that any law firm that would unfairly punish her isn't the kind of law firm she should be trying to invigorate by getting a hot new client. Her skills and motivation could be better used elsewhere than Mesa Verde, but she realizes this far too late at a point of no return, having married Jimmy and still sticking with him in spite of his active association with the cartel. Like the Sandpiper Crossing class action lawsuit, Mesa Verde propels much of the drama between our characters in the legal side of the show. Kim is not solely to blame for how things went down, but maybe if she had noticed those two opportunities to politely end the phone conversation and leave HHM behind, it's possible Chuck wouldn't have ended it, Howard wouldn't have been murdered, and Jimmy wouldn't have become Saul Goodman. As Mike says, our choices put us on a road. Sometimes those choices seem small, but they put you on a road. You might think about getting off the road, maybe paying attention to some glaring exit signs, but eventually, in the world of Better Call Saul, and even Breaking Bad, you find yourself back on it, and that is the exit sign Kim Wexler unfortunately missed. Do you think there were any other opportunities for Kim to change her path? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more video essays. Take care, and see you soon.